I'm Dr. Kanwal Khalid. Today, the topic that I'm going to touch is a very favorite of mine, and I will be talking completely as an art historian. And within that capacity, there has been some paintings that I have been doing research on since 2006. And the reason this topic came to my mind is the recent demise of the Pope who passed away on 21st of April, and that gave me a reminder that there was once a pope painted on the walls of Lahore Fort in the early 17th century. Yes, as a fresco painting. So today I'll be talking about those paintings, and there was a big treasure of painting that was discovered in Lahore Fort. But first, a little background. 16th century in the history of the subcontinent is extremely important because two powers entered here that were very alien to this particular landscape. One were the Portuguese who entered in Goa in 1510 when this was taken up by Albuquerque, and the other one was, of course, Babur, who came from Central Asia and he took over the subcontinent in 1526. Now, these two were on an alien land and among the people of such religion that they did not believe in, because one was Christian, the other one was Muslim. As a result to that, two completely, interesting and fascinating cultures entered in the subcontinent. But not before 1570 that they got connected when Akbar took notice of the religion of the Portuguese and uh, they responded by the agency of Society of Jesus that was sent to the court of Akbar, and the sole purpose of this particular society was to convert the Mughal kings towards Christianity. In March 1578, Akbar introduced a priest called Julian Peteria to come to the court at Fatehpur Sikri. And this was not the first and the last event. From then on, this kept on happening, and a whole mission consisting of four members reached in Mughal court on 27th or 28th of February in 1580. And this continued in the city of Lahore as well. Because, as you know, Akbar declared Lahore as the city as its capital city at that time period. Uh, these were the missionaries who were coming as a response to the curiosity of Akbar, and they kept on entering the region. But not all of them were a very favorable, in very favorite of the king at all, because these were the people who were not given much of an importance apart from some occasions when they were invited in the court. So, one particular incentive that they realized for the Mughal kings was that was the paintings, because very soon these Jesuits or these missionaries realized that Mughals cannot resist good paintings. So they took advantage of their this weakness, and they would enter the court with the gifts of paintings, and it is a very rarely known phenomena that many of the leading painters of the Western world and their paintings entered in the Mughal court. But I'll talk about it in my few of my next episodes, definitely. So these European paintings coming from the Jesuits and the missionaries, they became very popular in the artistic circle of the subcontinent. Not only that, but the ordinary people were also very much fan of these paintings. So much so, whenever any missionary would brought a good painting of Jesus or Virgin and Mary, because most of them were Christian paintings. So sometimes even the whole city would flock to that particular church where those paintings were being displayed. So this has been happening So, of course, these paintings influenced the local artists also. As a result to that, we come across many buildings and many miniature paintings that had Christian style paintings executed at that time period. At that time, we come across a frequent reference of a complete Euro centric Euro style paintings, fresco paintings done at the Delhi Fort, Agra Fort, and Lahore Fort. But unfortunately, so far, none of the examples are available in any of these forts except for in Lahore Fort. So, in Lahore Fort, there is a small building that looks not important at all from the outside, but once you enter that building, this particular chamber, you realize that this building holds the treasures beyond the dreams of any art historian. And if you look at these paintings, they are basically seven fresco paintings that are done in they have Christian themes, and the style of the execution of those paintings is completely European. And this European prototype cannot be seen in any other existing Mughal paintings in the subcontinent. That has never been reported so far, or there were some references of the paintings there, but unfortunately, I don't think they do exist anymore. Initially, this particular monument, it is been named as Sadara. Sadara is three-doored, but this name does not fall right, because the this chamber or this small building has more than three entrances, and it was thought that this is a Sikh era painting. Then it was labeled as British era painting, but in the Pakistan's Federal Department of Archaeology's article that published in 2005, it was declared that this is a Jahangiri building that was constructed during Jahangir's period. But my research uh, gave this proof that the building was already there, but it was later on embellished and had painted during Jahangir's period. Now, interior walls of this particular Sadara has raised frame lines, and they are decorated with wine scrolls, leaves, and flowers, which are in many different patterns. But the element that I find very intriguing are the paintings of the birds. Yes, the birds that are painted in these buildings, in this particular monument, is of next level. And since they have not been retouched by any later artisans, so we can appreciate the line and the intricacies of Jahangir period, and the execution of these flowers and of these birds is beautifully done. And then on the western wall of this particular monument, we come across two paintings. And if you stand in front of this wall, I can assure you that you can barely make out of any images there, because with the passage of time and due to different, vandalism, they are almost lost, and you can barely make out the outline of the figures. But once you look at it closely, you realize that there are two figures on this particular wall, and they are almost like 4 by 5 feet of their width and length. And when you study them closely, you realize that these large fresco paintings are painted in a typical style which is associated to Renaissance. And I will study the paintings one by one so that you can appreciate the what kind of treasure this particular Sadara holds in that on those walls. So, first of all, we see a white bearded man, and he is seated with his right arm resting on a large open book, as you can see it in on your screen. and there is a larger book on lower level, and on top of it is this open book, and then in his right hand he holds a staff with three cross pieces. Now this staff is associated to the papal attire. He is wearing a purplish robe, and then that matches a small cap covering his head. With this, if you compare his dress style, you can see that this was being used by the popes of those days. And there is a painting by Raphael that we can see the similar style of dress worn by him. So the similarity is uncanny, and you cannot deny it. So this was probably. Probably okay, definitely this was the representation of a pope, and there is quite a possibility that this is a representation of Pope Gregory. That's quite a possibility because from we find lots of similarities there. On the other hand, if you look at the figure's cloak, it is held by a four-lobed medallion. Now, this medallion clasps on his chest, and this was used to hold the rope. Unfortunately, the medallion is gone. Now, all we can see is an imprint of that medallion there, and this was usually shown on the figures of the popes and saints during the 16th century, and we come across these references again and again. Now, this representation is very interesting, and if you look at the face and overall execution, it is extremely realistic and monumental, uh, which can be associated with a period of high Renaissance. And this is a fresco painting unlike any other that we have seen in the subcontinent. On the right side is another monumental figure, which is again in completely Renaissance style. What that figure is all about, I'll talk about that in my next episode. But for this painting of the Pope at Lahore Fort, I think this example is one of the rarest in the history of art, and you can enjoy looking at it through these images that I'm sharing with you in this particular video.